Welcome back to Raised by Her.
How about that? How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready for episode 3.
Yes, we are here.
We are here. What do you want to talk about this week?
Well, I think we can talk about the fact that I've been taking care of your dog, your and your husband's
Truffle.
dog. Yes, and
Was she well behaved?
she was very well behaved. Now she's a
She's a Shih
Shih Tzu-
Tzu-Bichon mix,
okay,
and that breed is called a teddy bear. Yeah.
She was really, really sweet, but she missed her mommy and daddy. I'm going to tell you that. So
Okay.
and you all have spoiled her.
Yes. Well, I mean, what's the point in having a dog if you're not going to spoil him or her?
Okay.
She deserves.
She deserves to be spoiled. That's true, because she was very, very well behaved.
Yeah.
And I kept telling her that you all would be back from vacation, and we had a good time.
Okay,
Yeah, we
good.
did.
And she does have some attachment issues, which is typical with the breed. So it doesn't surprise me that she was like, wait a minute, where are the two people that I spend so much time with? But
And-
she's grown attached to you too, I feel like.
Well, she sees me a lot. so-
Okay. Okay.
So you know that growing up, you had several dogs, and so
Oh, that's true. Well, several
Yes.
types of everything.
That is
So
true.
several dogs, poodles is what I remember the most.
that's what you wanted the most as a little girl and as a young lady. Yes.
But upon reflection as an adult, where then my process was, what's the actual temperament? How much care do they need? What's their energy profile? Poodles are quite high energy and need a lot of care, which you probably know because you were the one that
Yes,
ended up
yes.
taking care of them.
Yes, the person who absolutely was the least excited about the dog after a dog after a dog. But, I think that I was guilted into getting you a dog because you love animals. You love
I
all
do.
kind of animals, and you really wanted a dog for one Christmas and then another Christmas. And then finally a friend of mine said, okay, why don't you get her a dog, because she loves all kind of animals. And so that was the beginning of the poodles and other breeds.
Poodles and other things.
Mhm.
I remember that Christmas because that was all I cared about. I saw the dog in the box and I was like, oh my God. And then I don't even remember what else was under the tree.
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
Because we had to buy all
enough.
the
All the things, yeah, for them.
yes. But yeah, your poodles. We had several of those as well.
So what's your favorite dog story, since you didn't come to this earth with a love for dogs necessarily, but you've developed
Yeah, I think
an appreciation.
the miniature greyhound, Michelangelo,
Okay.
was my favorite because he was a sweet dog,
Yeah.
and we did get him from a breeder. But when he finally got to us, there was some issues.
I remember that.
And the veterinarian who checked him out said, because I think that this dog is had been abused, I think you may want to just send him back to the breeder because you paid for the dog.
Mhm.
And that was the miniature greyhound. But you didn't want to send him.
No,
back.
because it was love at first sight. So like that first day, I was like, nope, let's keep him. And you're probably like, all the vet bills that I'm going to pay for this dog
Which is
now.
true, which is absolutely what happened.
But it's actually that experience from when we were looking for Truffle that I refused to go, order from out of state.
Okay.
So, because I don't think there was a breeder in the area we were living in at the time for the breed that I wanted, after doing all the research that I felt like would most fit our lifestyle. But it was because I remembered that experience. I was like, no,
Right.
I need to buy on site.
Which is probably a wise decision. And actually, because I wasn't a dog person, the person who recommended, a friend of mine who recommended actually doing some research, looking at your lifestyle. And I said, what do you mean looking at your lifestyle? And she said, what you can do is you can go online and you can put in what your habits, your family habits are. And so they match the family habits and your lifestyle with the best breed
Yep.
for you at the particular time. And so it really indicated that the miniature greyhound was the best breed for our family at that particular time, based upon your busy schedule and our schedule. And he was wonderful, Michael.
Yeah, I remember him
Michelangelo.
being sweet.
Yeah.
We were open to Italian greyhounds, but I didn't want to deal with the shedding. That was another one of my requirements. I wanted Needed, wanted, a hypoallergenic dog with
Okay.
no shedding,
Okay.
and Michelangelo shed.
A little bit, not a lot. I mean, his hair was very, very small, very, very.
Well, so I have allergies. Maybe this is how I
Oh,
developed them.
okay.
Because at first I wanted to be able to sleep with the dog in the bed. My grandmother would have been like, "Lord have
Oh,
mercy,
no, no, no,
dogs in
no. Dogs in
no, we
bed.
do not." But
You
I wanted to sleep with
remember.
I do, but I remember so he would be on my pillow and then um I would like these hairs would, because he's
The
moving and
little hairs,
shedding. And
yeah,
so I was like,
yeah,
oh, this
yeah.
is a problem on several levels. So then there was no more dogs in the bed.
Mhm. Well, I think, ultimately, Truffle, your sweet little dog now, fits very well for your lifestyle and for my lifestyle. So
Okay,
so
good,
that
good,
so that's
good. She
good.
fits all around.
Yes,
Wonderful.
and I had her with me for an entire week, so because you all were on vacation.
We
Yes.
did. We popped over to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Are you familiar?
No, I was not familiar, and I told you that I had not heard of Jackson Hole,
Wait,
Wyoming.
Wyoming wasn't on your bucket list?
No. But now after you visited there, I can honestly say that it sounds like a place that would be really great to visit at some particular time.
I
So,
agree.
how
I
did you
agree. It was
like
it
it?
was a positive experience. I liked it a lot. I didn't know exactly what to expect, but what I was looking for was a Western experience with like a touch of luxury. So like give me Sedona in terms of the laid back
Okay,
nature,
okay.
holistic of it all, but then also give me like a little Western experience. And it could be because I've been watching like Yellowstone
Mm,
and like all the
mhm,
Western
mhm.
shows and everything. So
I
it
am
delivered.
not, I'm not familiar with that part of the country in terms of travel. I mean, I have not been to Wyoming, but when I think about it, I do think about sort of the wild, wild west. And would you say that it's pretty non-urban in that area?
It is non-urban for
Mhm.
sure. It's a town. Yeah, it's just a town.
Did you all
Um,
go horseback riding?
no, because I remember the horseback riding experiences of my youth, which was getting going down to Kentucky. And I don't know how the ranch, from a liability perspective, allowed this, but no questions. They would allow us to gallop, and they just like sent us out into the woods, like
That's
us
right.
and these horses, and we rode as fast as we wanted, and we were out there
Yes.
for as long as we wanted. and
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
and the horseback riding experiences that I find that are offered to me now, they're like, well, you'll be in a group and you'll be in a
That's
line and you're
right.
going to walk down a
Yes.
trail. I'm like, that's
Yes.
boring. Give me the galloping across fields. And they're like,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
ma'am, we don't, we don't
You
allow
know what? But that
that.
that that is so interesting that you remember that because that's what you said you wanted. And so we went to Lexington, Kentucky, and we found a place that allowed you to gallop, as you
It's so
said.
much
And
fun.
but the horses, they knew the routes and the patterns and where to go, and they were well behaved too. But you and your dad would leave me all the time. I mean,
Your horse couldn't keep up.
my horse couldn't keep up because I didn't want to go
Oh, yeah.
galloping.
You
You
wanted the
know,
more leisurely
which
stroll.
is what I was familiar with when you talk about horseback riding. So when I think of the Old West, then I think about horseback riding, but I also think about beautiful nature.
Oh, it
So
was gorgeous. It was unbelievable. The Grand Teton Mountains is what surrounds Jackson Hole, and I was not familiar. I was like Rocky Mountains, but no. Um, yeah, the views are unbelievable, and I mean, there's like no words actually. That's how unbelievably beautiful it is. So
so that's really good because it was vacation. So your moment of getting back and relaxing, and you and your hubby just taking a break, which vacations are all about. Everybody needs a vacation at some point from something. And so this sounds like the perfect place to have a different kind of experience, a different kind of adventure, if you will.
it was a different experience, and I like to do different things on vacation. Like some people I know like going to the same places all the time. I usually don't like to do that because I feel like the world is so big, and there's just so much, and there's so much diversity out there in
Mhm.
terms of experiences and cultures. So I try to go to different places, and this was my husband wasn't interested in leaving the country this year. I understand.
Okay.
And that is what prompted us to look. inside the US. Okay, where
Uh-huh.
haven't we been? What would give us kind of a unique experience? I also have this obsession with going on safari, and
Yes,
I have
yes.
yet, like, my goal is to
Mhm.
go to South Africa,
Right.
and do that. But until that time, I was like, okay, where is there an American safari? I was like, so give me black bears, give me moose, give me wolves. There was an abundance of bald eagles there, which were
Oh,
they were
really? Oh, the
beautiful and
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I thought they were
Oh.
extinct, and I was glad to be
Well, no,
wrong.
they're not extinct, but they're not really that many around.
Well, there
So,
are in Jackson Hole,
Wyoming?
Wyoming. Yes, they are in
Okay, okay,
abundance.
okay, okay.
And so I got my safari experience, and I felt like it was a really good precursor to what I will hopefully be experiencing in South Africa
You know,
in the
we
future.
we do as a family really love traveling, and we've been blessed to be able to go to a number of different places.
You started
So
me young.
I did, I did. I started you young because of something that my mother said,
Oh.
and that is, if you have the opportunity, go and see, because then you can not only make some comparisons in
Mhm.
terms of your life, but you also get to know other people, other cultures, other places, and you begin to appreciate and understand what the United States has to offer in a significant way. And so, when you were young, that was something that I remembered as a life lesson. In fact, you were playing basketball
Mhm.
and you had an opportunity to go and travel overseas with the basketball team. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, so I remember going and I remember having an excellent time. What I don't remember is, was I excited or was I nervous?
Both.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you were both. You're a pretty good basketball player. And so you were probably about 13 at that particular time. And I remember thinking, this is a great experience because you were chosen to be a part of this particular excursion, sports excursion. And but I was a little nervous. And so I called up my mother,
Mhm.
Rosa, who is represented here by the rose. And I said, Mommy, when I was 15, it was the first time I was able to travel overseas. How did you let me travel overseas at the age of 15? And she said, um, when I was taking French in high school, and she said, when the French teacher indicated that you had been chosen to be able to be a part of this particular opportunity in France, your dad and I thought it would be a really good idea. And I said, but I was 15. And she said, yes, but you also were the kind of child that I felt like could take care of herself. If there was a problem, I felt like you would know where to go and figure out how to get some help and assistance. You
So you
were
have been raised right. She's like,
well,
"I did
I
my
did.
job."
I well, I think
So go
so.
ahead and go
Yeah.
forth.
I mean, I think, and she said, so you're looking at allowing Donica to go overseas at this particular time, and she said it'll be great for her, and she'll be doing something that she loves because she loves sports,
Yeah.
and so that was beneficial. So I went
But
to
that wasn't the
France.
first time that you that's right, you did go to France. I do feel like my comfort with travel comes from generations of travel.
Hmm.
I do feel that because I know my grandmother back in the day, like, she went to Russia, and then you started internationally traveling when you
Yes,
were
yes,
15 and a
15, right.
teenager, and so
Hmm.
and then you started me was the very first international trip I took when I was in it wasn't was
It
I
was
in 5th grade?
It was Ghana.
Was I mean, I was young.
It was Ghana. Yeah, yeah.
And so I mean, you just started me young, and so I'm
Well,
just blessed in that way.
I think the opportunity, especially the opportunity to go to Africa and to be able to get the historical perspective, to really learn something about our history, learn about African Americans, learn about how we ended up in the midst of the slave trade throughout the history of this
From a
nation
different perspective.
from a different perspective. Because when you travel, what you really want to do is to be able not only have a leisurely time sometimes, but also you want to be able to, I think, gain a cultural experience. You want to be able to maybe have an adventure, but also be able to learn something so you can expand your knowledge so that you can become, I would hope, a better person because of who you're meeting in various places around the world.
Yeah.
And so, so the Ghana trip was absolutely amazing. Yeah. So
You
yeah,
still remember it.
I do. I do. What comes to mind when I think about that is our tour guides were explaining to us how, at that particular time in our history, when the slaves were captured, they would take them to these holding cells. And so we had a chance to tour the holding cells. And then you would go sort of down this sort of tunnel.
Mhm.
And in the tunnel, you would see the ocean. You looked out, and the tour guide would say, "So this is where there was the moment when the slaves knew that they were leaving their homeland forever." And it was called sort of the gate of no return. And you look out and you see the ocean, and you begin to not only feel the connection of our people in the past, but you begin to feel the pain of not knowing where you're going,
Yeah.
what you're going to be doing. Um, and so for them, it was really a torturous experience, but that's where it began for many,
Sure.
many of our ancestors.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of travel.
Great. Yeah. And then I went back actually,
You did.
several years later. But I
Mhm,
remember about that first trip, though, my very first international trip to Ghana with you
mhm,
all,
mhm.
is that I was terrified. Like I think I was fine. And then we landed and we stepped out, and I could tell that we weren't in a familiar place. And I was like, oh no, I want to go back. Like, how long did it take us to get here? 23 hours or whatever it was. Let's just go ahead and you guys were like, that's not quite how this is going to work.
No. And we really had tried to prepare you, your dad and I had tried to prepare you for the fact that this was not a trip to Disney World. We were going on a cultural tour of our homeland.
I don't know if anything would have prepared me for, not traveling to Disney
Well,
at that
as
age.
a
Like,
child,
that was my
I could
expectation.
understand that,
Yeah,
but I think people who are blessed and have an opportunity to expose their children to lots of different places and
sure.
lots of different experiences, so but I think, yes, having the chance to travel various places around the world. I know one of the trips that I never would have taken if it hadn't been for you.
Which one's that?
That's the trip when you were in college and you decided to do a semester abroad.
Oh, Australia was not on your bucket
No,
list?
no, no,
You
and
didn't wanna go
I
literally
did
across.
not know, and I couldn't believe that you indicated that's where you wanted to go for your semester abroad. Why?
Well, okay, so, in college, I was majoring in sociology. And so I was talking to, and I always knew that I wanted to study abroad
Mhm,
in college based on my immersion experiences in high school.
mhm.
And so when I was talking to the dean of sociology and I was asking him about the different opportunities to study abroad within this major, he gave me a couple different countries in Europe, but I was like, I don't really feel like learning another language. Can we can we keep it English speaking? And he was like, well, actually, we do have a relationship with Australian National University in Canberra. I was like, great, let's do that. And so it was kind of that was my driving force. I just did not want to learn another language.
And that's one of those opportunities that I'm glad I said yes to, because during your spring break when you were in Australia, I came over to visit you,
I know, it was
and we spent
amazing.
2 weeks traveling around Australia, learning all about the Aborigines,
Yeah,
and your major was sociology, but also anthropology, and so
that's
there
true.
was a nice connection when we were going through the museums, and we were really learning about the culture and being able to tie that experience to not only our African heritage, but also the islands around the world. There is a thread that
For
connects
sure.
all of us.
Yep,
And
definitely.
if you really study a little bit about the cultures, and you look at what's the learning experience in a place like Australia, you learn so much.
I
That's
agree.
good.
Yeah. Would you go back?
Yes, I
Oh,
would go back.
that was very fast. You
Well,
were
yes, because not only was that a learning experience, as I said, but the people were wonderful. The history was rich, and I just loved being able to go to Sydney and go to the Opera House. I mean, there were all these cultural
yeah.
experiences that I remember there, and you planned the spring break. when I was
Oh
coming to
yeah, well,
visit.
I'm a planner. Anyone who knows me, they're like, yeah, she likes a plan. Like even last week when we were in Jackson Hole and I told some friends we were going, they connected me with some of their folks who had been there. And I was talking to them. They were like, "Oh, you call the concierge and you like map out what you all's week is going to look like." In part, I do that because I wanna make sure that time is not wasted, and because how I like to travel is not necessarily going to the same place over and over and over again, I like to be able to have a holistic experience, and I think it's more difficult to do that if you're not planning it out. If you just get there and you're like, "Oh, we'll see what, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Right,
look
right,
like." I'm
right.
like, "Well,
Yes,
then, like, you
yes.
get to the end of your trip and you have 4 things you haven't done."
Well, I think that makes sense. I also think that with the connection that we have to the world, we individuals, it's a good idea to be able to plan because resources are sometimes limited as well. There is a woman who is an international traveler. Her name is Nora Dunn. She was a financial planner, but now she has a blog and she has podcasts and she has shows. And what she does, she travels around the world and she talks about making sure you have the best experience based upon the monies that you have
Sure.
available for travel. And one of the tips that she gives is make sure that you have a planned itinerary with flexibility so
Mhm.
that you can take advantage of the targets of opportunity as well. And so in reading some of her advice, I actually thought about you because that personality of yours to be able to plan it all out. Um, Sometimes it sounds exhausting, but I think that probably it's the
Y
best way to go about
We build in rest days and rest times.
it. Which is
Um,
what vacation is
yeah,
supposed to be.
somebody asked me that. They were like, "So are you more adventure?" Because I was telling them about some of the things that we did last week, "Or are you more like relaxation?" I was like, "It's important for both. I wanna be able to leave vacation and not feel like I need another vacation."
Okay,
You know?
okay, yeah,
And
that's true. So tell me some of the exciting things that you did.
oh, I did a brand new thing for I paraglided.
You mean like jump
Yeah, so I jumped off an 11-foot mountain.
11
1,000, sorry, 11 foot,
11
11,000 feet.
I
You were
can
like,
do
"Yeah,
a 11
you
foot.
could do
I can,
11."
yeah, I can do the 11 foot. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I right. I missed some zeros.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But
11,000 feet, huh?
yeah, and it wasn't something I was planning on doing. We were in one of I don't know where we were. We were buying a ticket to go on something else, and I was looking at all the different offerings of this particular company.
Uh-huh.
And so I was asking them, "Oh, what is this? What is this? What is this?" And so when we got to paragliding, they told me, and there was a guy who was standing next to me. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm one of the guys that like jumps. You should do it." And I was like, it seems like
I'm one of the guys that jumps. You should just do it.
basically, yeah. And I was like, "Well, talk to me more about what this looks like." And he was like, "Well, nobody's died on my
Oh,
watch."
no. He said that to
He
you?
did, he did, yeah. And I was like, "Well, death seems extreme. What about injury?" You
Right,
know?
right,
My
right.
head
Yeah.
is there nothing in between? And he was like, "Well, we have had a couple broken bones, but you will be fine."
And you went anyway.
Well, maybe he just caught me in a moment of vacation relaxation where I was like, "This," and see, I build in flexibility for things like
Right,
jumping off
right,
mountains, and
right.
so I was
Okay.
like, "You know what? Let's just do it." When I say let's just do it, my husband was like, "Absolutely not."
So he wasn't on board with this.
No, but I'm the crazy one, I think,
No,
in the
you're the
relationship.
adventurous one because
Okay, so
your
we'll call it
your
adventurous.
father would have said yes. He would have been right there because that's the
Oh,
way
yeah,
he
that's
was.
true.
Yeah, he loved those kind of
I get it from my
experiences.
father,
Yep, you
for
do.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And so the next day, yeah, woke up, took the tram, ski lift up to 11,000 feet. We had to go in the mornings because the wind is better in the
Like
morning.
early morning.
My flight time was 10 a.m.
Oh, that's not too
So they
bad.
offered a 9 a.m. and 10
Okay.
a.m. And, but the tram, because people go up there just to see the views as well, and then
Sure.
also, like, you can hike around
Hmm.
if one chooses. So there was a bunch of people up there, and so, some of the guides or jumpers, I don't really know what they're called, they were asking other people, they were like, "Well, she's going to go jump off the mountain. Does anybody else wanna jump off the mountain?" And everyone's like, what?" Like, this is a wild thing to even
That
ask.
little girl over there, because I'm sure you looked
Yeah,
like
that's true, 'cause I had my hat and my
right.
I was
That
like,
little 11,000 feet. Okay.
yeah, but that meant that I had a big audience. Then once I got up there, it
Oh,
wasn't just
okay.
me and the guide having our private experience. It
Okay.
was me and 25 people looking like,
Hmm.
have you taken out life I was like, not helpful,
Okay.
not helpful.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And how was it? What was the experience like?
it was worth it. It was amazing. I would do it again. I was nervous, but I didn't feel true fear until I got to we were at the edge, and the guy, he hadn't strapped me to him yet. So it was just me and him and his kite. And he was like, "Well, walk 15 feet further." And I was like, "If I walk 15 feet further, I will no longer be on this map. Like, there are not 15 feet between me and the edge." He was like, "Yes, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." I was like, "Sir, it's not fine." And so he kept, asking me. And so I just sat down. I was like, "He's not hearing me." And so once I sat down, he got like one of his colleagues. He was like, "Okay, clearly you are a bit uncomfortable." I was like, "You think? If I slip and fall, I fall off the mountain, and
Right.
then
Right.
I will have injury." Yeah.
Well, yes.
you
Yeah.
know? And so with the help
Wow.
of
Wow.
one of the guys, he kind of like, I mean, I stood up and then he kind of pulled me, and then you run and you jump and
So
you
you're
fly.
attached to the person. It's not like parasailing where you're kind of by yourself with the kite in the boat
Well,
with
he
that.
had the kite was attached to him, so he had the kite,
Okay.
and because he knew how to. Although he did let me fly it once we were up
Okay.
there, and then I was attached to the front.
All right, Donica, now we're doing a little video.
Yeah,
You feel that wind increase again.
that's intense.
So you just slowed down the glider is what you did there.
Oh.
That was actually very smooth. Sometimes I'll give the controls to people and it's scary.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, Donica, getting it done. Grand Teton National Park, Jackson Hole, 2025. Peace.
Okay.
Because I was very worried about the landing. Even though he was like, "Don't worry about it." I was like, "Stop telling me not to worry about these
Right.
things."
Right.
But I just had to put my feet up, and so he took all the brunt of landing.
Well, good for you, because what I think that represents is at the age you are now, um, being able to not only master something that is not going to kill you, but give you a much more exciting experience, addressing the fear and being able to move yourself forward. You would have missed it. You would have missed
I
that
know.
if you hadn't done it.
What I
So,
thought was really cool, because there was a chorus of no's, right, with the other people who were on the mountain.
sure.
But when we were down there, I looked up, and at least one other person jumped
Okay.
after me, and I was
Okay.
like, "Yay! I'm
Yes.
here for being an
Yes.
inspiration."
Right. And I think that's a part of what vacations and those kind of breaks and those moments are for. Not to be risking your life, but to be able to do something that you haven't done before. And then you have that memory that's there forever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
it
push
was
beyond the fear.
got to push beyond the fear. Never want to be stuck.
Mhm.
And so I was talking to somebody a few days later, and they were like, "Oh, are you into extreme sports?" And I was like, "Was that extreme?" And they were like,
Yes.
"Yeah."
Yes,
They were
I
like,
can
"Yeah,
answer that. That is extreme. 11,000 feet up in the air off of a mountain.
it's extreme."
Yes. Yes.
But then it made me Google, like, what are other extreme sports? Like, what is it that I would actually be willing to do? I wanted to whitewater raft
Yes.
while I was there, but for the time of year that we were there, I like a class 4 rapid, which means like the super, like, you feel like you are truly whitewater rafting and you're
Mhm.
being thrown
Like we've
everywhere.
seen in the movies and on TV, but,
Mhm.
n okay.
And this at this time of year, they just had a class 1. They were like, "So it's more of a float." And I'm like, "I'm not interested in floating." I want to be thrown around.
I could float. I could
Yeah,
float.
you
Yeah,
can float. You would have
I
chosen the
could float.
floating.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could.
But that apparently is an extreme sport.
Okay.
Skydiving.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Deep sea, diving maybe?
Yeah, deep sea dive. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Although
extreme.
I'm not big on going into like the depths of the ocean. I feel like that's probably beyond my scope. Others, if they so choose,
Mhm.
can do that. I'll snorkel.
Okay.
I think that's where I draw the line.
Snorkeling is good. That sounds
The
safe.
ocean's
Yeah.
a scary place.
Well, no, the ocean is a beautiful place. It's just you have to be able, I think, to have measured places that you go, because just think about it. You see all kinds of creatures and fish and all of the sea life.
So I
that
do animals, I don't do creatures.
Oh,
You know?
okay. All
Don't do
right.
insects,
Okay.
don't do,
Okay.
arachnids. I do, a fluffy
Okay.
dog.
Yes.
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 Big
A sea urchin.
a sea urchin, no.
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 You know me, I won't even eat seafood.
Well,
I'm like, but
squids. No.
no,
No. Okay.
no. Maybe they're deep fried.
Oh.
You know?
Oh.
You might be able to do
Okay.
calamari.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. But I really do think that it's good to be able to not only have those kind of experiences, but to learn from them. You learn something about yourself,
Hmm.
and you learn something about what the possibilities are. So,
What the possibilities are.
mhm.
Yeah.
So now it makes me think, best trip that you've ever taken?
Oh, that is so hard to answer because based on how I choose to travel,
Mhm.
each experience is special in some type of way. And I do, I was going to say a crazy thing or an adventurous thing.
Mhm.
Um, what was an excellent trip that I've taken? It's really it's hard for me to say. What comes to mind? Um, Oh, I can't compare. I can't
Okay,
compare. Oh
well,
my
you don't have to.
goodness.
I just thought I
Well, no,
would
I feel like I have
ask.
to. I have to throw
Yeah.
something out there because I've had, as you know, so many amazing
You
experiences.
have.
We like
You have.
Paris.
Yes. Yes.
Paris is incredible.
Paris is incredible.
They love
Yeah.
Black women in Paris.
Yeah. So
Well, at least they
yeah.
did. Can't speak for the now times, but anyway, yeah.
It's beautiful too, and the French people are wonderful and marvelous. So yeah.
I like the chocolate and the cheese.
Yes, and the bread. I like the bread.
Yeah, and the bread, right?
I like the bread. Yeah, the food is remarkable. Places where you can, I think, experience something new and different, but have good food is kind of cool too.
Oh yeah, good.
And
But it's difficult because you all raised me as a vegetarian.
mhm.
And so many cuisines are meat forward, is how I'll put it. So
Right.
even when we were in Ghana, I remember drinking a lot of Sprite and eating a lot of bread
Yes, yes.
and Fanta.
But fortunately, your husband loves to eat, and his palate is the kind that allows one to try different kind of cuisines. Because when you all come back from some of your trips, he talks about the fact that he had a great meal in this place, or you all
That's
found
true.
this special little quaint restaurant, and somebody recommended. So
He had
yeah,
elk
elk.
last
Okay,
week.
all right. And did he enjoy it? Would he have elk again?
I
Or
think he would. I can't really speak to it because I certainly didn't eat any elk, but
right, right.
I think
Yeah.
it was all right.
Okay. Well, I think, just being able to do some different things and try some different things is always enjoyable, manageable, but allows you to grow. That's what I think that you were able to do on this trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Yeah, I
Right.
would have never thought that I would go to Wyoming. I also didn't think that I would go like a national parks trip isn't something that was like high on my.
Did you all go to Yellowstone?
We did go to Yellowstone, but
Oh,
again,
Faithful?
we did not go to Old
Oh,
Faithful.
okay. Oh,
But speaking of flexibility in a schedule,
mhm.
so my husband wanted to go to Yellowstone. I was like, well, Yellowstone, there's a national park literally right here, the Grand Teton National Park. Like, can you really tell the difference? And it was the difference between like a 15-minute drive or like an hour and a half drive.
Mhm.
But in my efforts to be a good spouse, I was like, okay, we will drive to go see how the trees are different in Yellowstone versus in Grand Teton. And so we did go, but we weren't there for very long. I don't know anything about Yellowstone except for the fact that it's massive and big. And so only when we were back, I think it was the following day, he heard some people talking and he was like, oh, we should go back and go to Old Faithful. And I was like, I think
Yes, yes.
I've driven I've ridden out all that I could ride.
Right.
Um,
So, well, it's the beauty of our national parks, and
they are
I do
gorgeous.
know that in that part of the country, it was very important for our government to make sure that the national parks remain in its natural state, so that the general public and families could enjoy. I mean, I know you're not into camping, but hiking, you like hiking, so
I do like
that
hiking.
was a good experience.
And I like
So,
hiking in that climate because one of the things I learned about Jackson Hole, Wyoming is that
mhm.
there's like zero humidity. And so there were no bugs. So
Oh,
I could
okay.
hike and not be attacked by. I mean, I
Bugs.
could be attacked by a bear, which would be my preference to, a spider or something. So it worked
Did you
out.
see any bears?
We
On your
didn't see any
safari?
bears,
You didn't.
no.
Okay.
We saw bison, which was really
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
The abundance of bald eagles flying around.
Yes. Right.
Um,
Buffalo.
we saw bison.
Okay. And a bison is a
Oh, wait, they did
form.
explain this to me. I cannot remember the difference between bison and buffalo, but they are different.
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you know the difference between?
No, I don't know
Okay,
the
okay.
difference. I just knew that there were
That they were different.
different. I just didn't know.
There
Yeah.
is a difference.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
else did we see?
Moose.
Yeah, we saw moose.
Did you?
We saw a
Okay.
female moose and she was chilling and she let us get fairly close. Then we saw a
Okay.
male moose with his magnificent antlers
Oh
and he
yeah.
did not want us to get close, which I was like, I understand.
Okay.
We are on
Okay.
your territory. We are
Right.
in your
Right.
house. And so
Right.
if you tell us to stay in the living room, we will stay in the living
In
room.
your house.
In your
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
In your big, beautiful, mountainous, no
Natural.
humidity
Natural. Yeah.
house. Yeah.
That's good. Well, it sounds like overall a great vacation, Donica.
I was pleasantly surprised and
Okay.
I was patting us on the back for doing something new and different that neither one of us had really kind of considered prior. And it's not something that people like throw out, at least not in
Right.
my
Right.
circles. Now, when I did throw it out, there were people who could like tell me some folks they knew. And so I got some like really great direction about like restaurants to go to or activities to try. So I appreciated that. But it's not like a destination point.
So I think that when I'm hearing you say you have to do some planning, you have to kind of know what your itinerary is, but you have to leave time for adventure. You have to leave time for some R&R in the midst of everything going on. But don't be afraid to try something new and different as well. Don't be afraid of not taking advantage of where you are and the experience that you can have,
I
which
think
is
so.
which is
But
great.
my husband's totally different than me. I mean, he goes along with the plans and I think he's like settled into it now and he's like, okay, I can see the benefits of this and it's pretty cool. I don't put
Mhm.
words in his mouth. But I think if it were left up to him, it would be even more fluid. It'd be more like we wake up that day and see where the day takes us.
And with that kind of attitude, you could have maybe more adventures because remember, you only found out about the whole experience on the mountain because you had some time available and you were open to that.
Well, maybe, but also, things book up. So
Oh, that's true too.
you also have to
That is
like
true.
get your tickets in advance and all the
Right, right.
things.
They
So
always
pros
tell
and
us that
cons.
on cruises. They always
That's
say,
right.
make sure that you book in advance because what you might want to do may not be
Do
available.
you like to
So
cruise?
I love to cruise. I love to cruise. I love being in the ocean and having an opportunity to not only experience the world, which there's so much water all over the world, and you're connected in special ways to the land and the earth and the water, and then being able to see all the beautiful scenery. And then there are all the experiences when you go from place to place as well. So that itinerary is planned for you, but you have to take advantage of it.
Mm. We so what's your preferences in terms of cruise? Are you like any cruise, anytime, or are you like, no, I'm pretty specific in terms of what time, what kind of cruise I like?
I think I've been pretty open at this particular time because I've had some great experiences. I've been really blessed to go lots of different places and to have some really, I think, amazing cruising experiences. The cruise that I'm still looking forward to that we haven't taken yet was the cruise to Alaska.
I know, and it was
And
so well
it
planned.
was it was well
Like
planned.
everything was perfect, and
Everything
then
was
COVID happened.
COVID happened, and we haven't gone back and put that back on the itinerary yet.
But
So
now I'm even more motivated because I feel like that we had some good adventures. We were like on a dog sled
that's
and all
right, we did.
these.
Yeah,
Now I'm getting excited
yeah.
all over again.
So
Start to plan out 2026.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
that works for you.
Yeah, that works for me. And I think, but it allowed me to think, where haven't I been that I'd like to go? Bucket list, yes, but also what kind of experience? And the people that I know that have been to Alaska talk about the beauty and the serenity and the majestics of just the whole place and space. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I bet it'll
yeah.
be somewhat similar to the West. Um,
You think so?
well, in terms of because one of the things I noticed was that everything appeared untouched. Now, there
Ah,
was
okay.
some
Okay.
touching, obviously,
Right.
but, like, generally, it's,
Yeah.
it's not developed, there's no plans to develop it because folks are like, "Absolutely not, it's
Right. Right.
protected," and so
Okay. Okay.
I think that's what I'll see up there too, maybe,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
what to
so.
expand, but
In
I think it's
Alaska.
cool to be able to
Yeah.
be in places that haven't been touched, yeah.
Right. I have a friend who he's a physician, but he's been to Antarctica. And so
See, now that's where I draw the line. I don't need to I don't wanna
he
go
was
there.
there doing some scientific research.
Okay. Because
Um,
why else would you go, honestly?
well, yes, but I was so fascinated. I said, "What did you see?" And he said, "Snow." And I said, "Well, what did you do?" And he said, "We did experiments in the snow.
Experiments.
We had research labs and everything." But he described it in the way that you've described the West and the way we imagine just the beauty and the serenity and the quiet. He talked about the fact that it was absolutely quiet. So it was a
Mm.
different kind of serenity that you could only experience in a place like Antarctica.
Would you go
So,
to Antarctica?
no.
That was a bucket I have a good friend of mine who travels the world, and she wanted to do, one of her big birthdays in Antarctica, and she, like, asked a whole bunch of us if we would be willing, to go with her, and we were like, "We are so sorry. We're gonna have to celebrate you within the United" well, not necessarily within the United States, but no to Antarctica.
Right. Well, we'll see where we'll end up in the
That's
future.
true, we should never
Yeah.
say never.
Never say never. So we could do that. And that's what Rosa would say. If she was here with us, she would say that make sure, Rosa being my mother of 94 years, she would say, Donica, Ronita, never say never. Allow yourself to be able to be open to all possibilities and make sure that you're not only exploring the world, but you're exploring the people in the world because they have something to offer you that is probably beyond your wildest imagination.
Mm.
So thank you, Rosa, for those wonderful lessons. And Donica, thank you for sharing the details of your vacation.
Oh, thank you for listening.
Not a problem. And Truffle and I got along okay without
I'm
you.
glad it worked out across the
It
board. So
did.
she,
It did.
I don't know that she was happy to see us, but the
Mhm.
first night home, she was kind of like, "You guys had a routine,
Yes.
apparently."
Yeah, we
So
did. We did.
being back home broke her routine,
That's right. So,
but
which goes to show you that even when you're a little dog, that breaking the routine can be a little jarring, but you can get back into your routine when you get back from vacation.
there you go.
How about that? So, thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you next time.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.